Here's the rules. Pause if you need to know more, and let's jump right into this unique SL1 challenge. Vort was a pretty easy fight, even on this challenge. It took me only one attempt for him. Even with the bonus health on Ngplus, I fought him way too many times to die to him. Even on a challenge like this, Big Ice Doggo down. The Crystal Meth Sage may think it's cooking, but we all know the truth. It's a relatively easy boss, considering I've killed this guy with only consumables. I've been in his arena for a lot longer, enduring a lot worse. Walter White has been defeated. You know, I wonder what that day at From Software was like. The intern walks up to Miyazaki with his head held high and says, "I know what boss to put in that will guard the transposing kiln. It's gonna be a giant warrior that uses the..." And Miyazaki stops him before he is finished, looks him in the eye, and just says, "No, I want a giant tree where you have to hit his balls." What? You heard me! I want a boss where you hit him in the balls. Okay. To all those who have never done low damage runs, you might not know that Deacons actually gets exponentially harder the lower the damage you do. Now, of course, this applies to every fight, but this is especially with Deacons because they can curse you, instantly killing you. But of course, you can also stop this effect by backstabbing or staggering the Deacons that are doing the cursing. They're the tall ones and they appear more in the second phase. Another thing about the fight is that they can heal, which of course makes a low damage runs even harder because your progress keeps getting set back. In fact, if you look up high NG low damage Deacon kills, you will see extremely skilled people kill Deacons flawlessly. One could even say that Deacons become harder than even Dancer in these conditions. Nevertheless, it was a long fight, but the Deacons eventually perish. The Abyss Watchers, the first Lord of Cinder that you fight. It's a great example of an amazing humanoid fight in a Souls game. Even with the gank of the first phase, it is balanced with the infighting that is going on. It's passive storytelling at its finest. Warriors who once fought side by side, now fighting and killing each other. But why? The question posed by just fighting them makes for a great fight. Second phase only elevates it further, with the flames coming back to him. Perhaps I'm going on too much, but nevertheless, the Abyss Watcher has the same weakness as most human fights. The ability to be backstabbed, which makes it much easier to kill him. It was a great fight. May you rest in peace. Ah, it's the jewelry guy. How are you doing? I'm guessing that means not that great. Yeah, Wolnir really isn't that much. The most that can be said of him is that he's a mild inconvenience at best.
Behold, the true great warrior, Bandai Egon! Your fears made flesh! Solid.
The old Demon King, as opposed to the new Angel Queen. God, that's a horrible joke. Is a boss that I am sad to admit I never get much practice against. So this challenge run was kind of a wake-up call for me to realize that I actually suck against this boss. And it surprised me more than I thought it would. Probably took me hours to even get the winning attempt on him. There really isn't any deep explanation as to why, other than it was just a skill issue. Plain and simple, but nevertheless, he eventually meets his doom. The real battle that occurs here is twofold. For one, it's a battle of patience. The fight itself really isn't all that much hard to learn, but if you mess up, you're most likely dead, unless you get lucky. Another is that it hurts your soul to watch Yorm die. His death may not be as notable as Sif's, but those who know the lore know Yorm for who he really is. A friend.
Let the sun shine upon this Lord of Cinder.
Due to the unique restriction of this challenge, parrying is a practical impossibility. Now, I won't go into too much details, but basically, because the shield is broken, the parry frames you get also deteriorate substantially. While I do not have the actual statistics, the parry window with a broken shield seems to be so precise that you have to be actually frame perfect. I was able to get off some parries, but not consistent enough for me to warrant using it in any of my subconsequent attempts. I settled for just dodging and sidestepping most of his attacks, but despite me being out of the option to parry Pontiff, I pressed on. I'm not able to do enough damage to make the second phase ghost disappear before it can do things, but I'm still able to get it lower. It's better than my bare fist run, at least. The secret to Pontiff is patience, and really just being able to do it without rolling. A lot of his attacks don't even require you to dodge roll, but it requires an insane amount of skill. An amount of skill that I don't have yet, but I am able to imitate a fraction of that power. And with that, the evil Pontiff Sullivan goes down. The Dancer of the Boreal Valley is another victim of Pontiff Sullivan. So far away from home and in such a cramped room. I mean, just look at her bad posture. Being that slunched over is not good for your back at all. You okay, Dancer? I mean, that can't be good. Despite where I've placed Dancer in this video, this was actually the third boss I killed in this challenge, and honestly, it wasn't very hard for me to acclimate to a harder version of her, considering I've killed her early a lot, so I'm used to killing her with low health and low damage. However, her attacks are faster in the second phase, and I still have room to improve. I still get hit by some attacks, but luckily at this point in the challenge, bosses still don't do enough damage to one-shot you with basic attacks. I mean, the grab will one-shot you though. In all honesty, I also got lucky with the second phase RNG for Dancer, so you can decide what played a bigger role in her defeat. Aldbitch, Devourer of Gods. More like Aldbitch, Devourer of... You know what? I better not make that joke. Aldbitch, while harder, which is obvious, is still, well, just Aldbitch. There's only so much harder a slug can be, even if its diet is comprised of gods. Now that I'm thinking about it, gods are probably really high in carbs and dietary fats. It's probably about as unhealthy as eating McDonald's. At this rate, you don't even need to kill Aldbitch. He will go into diabetic shock before too long.
Dear Ocerius, I am regretted to inform you that your application into preschool has been rejected. Your resume looked promising, but however, 1 is not enough to warrant getting accepted. We hope to see great things from you in the future, and hope you do not take this rejection too harshly.
Hey! Here's a fun fact. Dragon Slayer armor takes 73 damage a hit from my weapon. Consequently, this is worse than the damage you would deal with just your bare fists at roughly 84 damage a hit. That is if you had a decent build and actually leveled your fist damage. Because this is Ngplus, care to venture the health that Dragon Slayer armor has? If your guess was 5,456, you're right. You also looked that up, but you're right. Doing a little bit of basic math yields us with a very big grand total of 75 hits necessary to kill him. Of course, the damage will vary slightly due to rings, off-balance hits, as well as the fact that because the fight will drag on longer, you will eventually wear out of your resin buff, leaving you with even less damage. And if you think 75 sounds not bad, then think again, because that's 75 hits you have to get in without getting hit by half of his attacks. That will one-shot you. You are not on even footing. And because you have to wait for a good opportunity to hit him, those 75 hits turns into an almost 7-minute fight. That is about half the time it takes to kill Yorm in this challenge. Additionally, it means I manage to get in a hit every 5.6 seconds on average. I want to die. The Twin Princes. I have to say, these used to be one of my most hated boss fights. But the more I got better at the game, the more I realized that I really just hated the teleportation. And even further on, I just realized I was complaining to myself about something that was just a skill issue on my part. I also come to realize we are coming near the end of the challenge. I'll make this brief for you.
Me, small channel, you help. Press buttons, make video go brr.
Thank you. Okay, back to my Twin Princes rant. This fight took me a while, and that is, quite honestly, an understatement. It took me multiple days of attempts, and getting increasingly frustrated at the boss run back, something clicked. I was able to dodge the attacks much easier. I could predict what attack he was going to do when he teleported. I was much stronger than before. My efforts paid off, and I really enjoyed defeating the boss that gave me so much trouble. Nothing quite like that adrenaline rush from beating a boss that you thought was impossible.
Zeus, your son has returned! I bring the destruction of Olympus!
I'm finally here. The end to this journey. But fear not, fellow traveler, for there are many more adventures we can go upon. This is merely the end of this road, but there are others. Perhaps I'll do a no-roll at Sl1, or I could go even further beyond that. Whatever I choose to do entirely depends on how much better I want to get at the game. Currently, I'm doing an Elden Ring RL1 run, and after that, who knows what I'll do next. Oh, Soul of Cinder. Sorry, I forgot you was even here. Okay. Soul of Cinder is a boss that has an extremely varied moveset, and this can cause it to be a lot of trouble when you try to learn him. He has a bunch of conditions like heal punishes and attack punishes if you hit him too soon without letting him finish the possible combo. But because he has multiple forms, he also has a combination of those forms, and because the after effects can translate to even more varied movesets, namely the Sorcerer moveset, making it so the next one has homing Soul Mass with it, In fact, that was one of the leading causes of my deaths, especially when it was paired with the curved sword moveset. Because of all of this, it actually makes the second phase easier than the first. The only question is, do you have enough practice on the second phase due to dying to the first so many times? The answer for me was most commonly no. I choked, and I died horrible deaths when I misjudged the distance between me and the boss, or healed without a proper window, causing me to get instantly killed by his jumping slash attack. SOC took me the most amount of attempts. I'm just glad the bonfire is nearby. Thanks for watching. This was my hardest challenge thus far, and if this video does well and enough people want it in the comments, I'll do the DLC as well for this challenge. And with that, remember, never go hollow. I also have the full uncut version of the boss fights on my channel if you want further proof that I actually killed them.